But in today's video, did I just catch that on camera? You guys, I just killed that fly. That is a Peace Corps skill right there. Oh my god, that's hilarious. Hey YouTubers, welcome to my channel, Andrea René Abroad, where I talk about Peace Corps travel and working abroad. Even though my channel is about Peace Corps travel and working abroad, I would say that by far my most popular topic is Peace Corps itself, which is awesome because that's how I started this channel in the first place, as a Peace Corps volunteer serving in Nicaragua. But let's go ahead and get to the Q&A. So I selected a few different questions from my videos on Peace Corps, and there have been some of you who have sent me questions on Instagram and Facebook as well. I will hopefully get to those in another video, maybe a second Q&A if I get enough new questions from you all. First question, Courtney asks, is there a kind of database or link on the Peace Corps website that I can get in contact with previous/current volunteers? So actually what I recommend all of you to do is to get onto Facebook and to search inside of Facebook the country of service that you are headed to. In this case, you will need to already be accepted to that Peace Corps country, and just search, for example, Peace Corps Nicaragua. Honestly, probably 100% of the time, your country of service will already have a Facebook group in existence. But definitely look it up, and that is the best place to ask previous/current volunteers questions about your country of service, because there will not only be current Peace Corps volunteers on that Facebook group, but there will also be RPCVs from that Peace Corps country. People are so helpful. The Peace Corps community is really, really close-knit, so they will definitely answer your questions once you have already been accepted to that country of service. Next question, Monica asks, I just received my AA in early childhood development and am now attending school for my BA in elementary education. Is it worth it to speak to a recruiter now? Absolutely. So actually you can go on the Peace Corps website and find a Peace Corps recruiter in your area. I highly recommend that you do this sooner rather than later, and then meet up with this recruiter and treat it like an informational interview. If you're even just a little bit curious about Peace Corps, meet up with a recruiter. It is so worth it. Generally speaking, I think pretty much 100% of the time, the Peace Corps recruiters will be RPCVs themselves. It's a really popular first job when you return from Peace Corps, so a lot of times they'll be really fresh from service. And I would also encourage you all to speak with a recruiter again once you are already in the process of applying to Peace Corps and compiling your resume and your essay on why you want to serve. Okay, next question. Faith asks, does Peace Corps pay for your initial flight to your country or your final return home? Yes, Peace Corps will pay for both of those flights. They will also pay for your flights if you have to be medically evacuated or any other situation like that. Another situation where they will pay for your flight is if you have an emergency in your family, for example, the death of an immediate family member. And this is all in the Peace Corps handbook, which I will link below for you all of this detailed information, and it includes all the different scenarios where Peace Corps will pay for your flight to return back to the United States. Because even though you are a volunteer and not an employee, and they're very clear about this, you do still have rights. So they will pay for your arrival to country and your departure. They will also pay for your evacuation. My service ended early. We were all evacuated. They paid for that flight home, and had the evacuation notice been lifted, they would have paid for us to go back, and again for us to return to the United States at the end of our service. Now, if you want to visit home during service, like say for Christmas or Thanksgiving or something like that, a wedding, you will have to pay for that out of pocket. So if you want to go home during your service, I highly recommend that you save money in order to do this. All right, Jose asks, do you have social media? Yes, I do have social media. I have an Instagram account and I post new photos from my current gap year. And then I also post Insta stories, which are really fun, so you can stay in touch with me, see what I'm up to. And yeah, we have a lot of fun over on Instagram, and I also have highlights from each of the countries that I've visited. So if you're on Instagram, definitely follow me over there at Andrea René Abroad. I also have a WordPress account, and I post a new blog every single Friday. And what I'm actually doing right now, which might be interesting to all of you, is I did not have a blog during my Peace Corps service, but I was writing an email home to families and friends every month. And so what I'm doing is every other week I publish one of those emails that I wrote as a Peace Corps volunteer. So if you've been looking for a good blog about Peace Corps service, I highly recommend that you check out my WordPress account. And then finally, I do have a Facebook, of course, which is just a great way to stay in touch with all of the content that I'm putting out there. I put links to all my new YouTube videos, all of my new blogs, and then I also upload my Instagram photos to Facebook on Wednesdays. So if you don't have Instagram, you can still see some of my photos over on Facebook just once a week. So definitely follow me on all of my social media. I would love to have you all on my blog and my Instagram as well. Next question, Shazmeen asks, how soon after you applied did you leave for Peace Corps? I actually know for a fact that I submitted my application to Peace Corps on August 31st of 2015, and then I departed on August 8th of 2016. So to answer the question, I applied basically a year before I left for Peace Corps, and I would highly recommend that all of you do that as well, because they post the positions a year in advance. So actually the Peace Corps Nicaragua position that I was accepted to was uploaded to the Peace Corps website on August 1st, 2015. And then I spent that whole month applying for that position, meeting with recruiters, meeting with RPCVs to ensure my success in getting accepted to Peace Corps. Naya asks, I am majoring in history and Spanish education. Do you think with my double major, I would be able to serve as a TEFL volunteer in a Spanish-speaking country? Now, I don't want to say to any of you ever yes, you will get accepted to Peace Corps, because I am not a Peace Corps recruiter. I do not work at Peace Corps. I do not work for Peace Corps. None of that. I'm just trying to help you all with your application and your success in your service. But Naya, I think this is definitely a really, really good combination. I would say the fact that you are majoring in Spanish education shows your high fluency in Spanish, which is really, really desirable. If any of you have seen my Peace Corps video that I made last week on language learning, you know that definitely the countries that are Spanish and French speaking are the most competitive, just because there are a ton of people in the United States who already speak these languages. So it just makes your resume stand out if you already have a high Spanish language proficiency. And then the second thing, Naya is specifically interested in being a TEFL volunteer, and the fact that it's Spanish education is her second major shows that she's already familiar with a lot of things having to do with education. So that's highly desirable as well, because when you are a TEFL volunteer, I myself was a TEFL volunteer, during pre-service training, they're going to be talking a lot about education and education philosophy and methodology, so that will definitely give you a leg up on your resume. I myself was a double major as well. I double majored in English and Spanish. I mean, it's great if you already speak Spanish, but if you're able to prove that on your diploma, that's even better. All right, and the last question, Angela asks, how soon after applying did they accept you for an interview? As I said earlier in this video, I submitted my application on August 31st of 2016, and then I heard back from them for an interview the last week of October. So it was 2 months later I heard back from them, and they wanted to interview me basically ASAP. And I remember that I was interviewed on Halloween, so October 31st of 2015. I chatted back and forth with Angela for a little bit, and she was like, oh my gosh, that's really, really soon. How did you prepare for the interview that quickly? Now, I would say, Peace Corps gets a lot of applications, and you need to treat this like a job application. I know this is Peace Corps, I know you're a volunteer, not an employee, but you still need to treat the application process as you would a normal job application. Generally speaking, when you are asked to interview for a job, they want you to come in that week, and that's the same way with Peace Corps. So if it's something you really, really want, then I know you all will make the effort to go through all of the materials and prepare for your interview in whatever amount of time they allot to you. So in my case, again, they gave me 2 days between asking me for an interview and the interview itself. All right, y'all, I hope this video answered the questions that you all have asked me, and I would love to do another Q&A video. So if you have questions for me, leave them below in the comments, and I will absolutely include them in a follow-up Q&A section with you all. If you are interested in watching more of my Peace Corps videos, I actually have created a playlist of the 20+ videos that I have made on Peace Corps. Lots of information there, so definitely check out my channel, and I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't already. All right, folks, definitely follow me on my social media, and I will see you all next week.